Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to the videos? Another paid request this time for Edward. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Edward wanted me to review 2 more episodes of South Park. This time we're in season 17, and this is episodes 1 and 3. Now, if everyone wants to request any type of videos, PayPal is usually the best bet, or Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box if you wish to. Episode 1 is pretty much dealing with Cartman. He has a cell phone. He's talking on speaker. He's being really annoying, but he's talking with other kids. And he keeps talking about privacy, but he's airing everything out for everybody to hear. And Kyle's getting annoyed by it. So, of course, Cartman is oblivious and keeps saying, stop invading my privacy, even though he's on a speaker and everybody can hear him. And he tells about the NSA, and the NSA knows everything. They're going to steal all your documents, all your information. Cartman's being more and more paranoid. He wants to be a whistleblower. He's going to become an agent in the NSA. He's going to be undercover. He hears about Alec Baldwin. I guess that's the thing with South Park, is they'll do stuff that just happened like a week or two before it aired. So some of the stuff I'm like, well, what was this about? I guess Alec Baldwin at one point had yelled at a journalist, or either yelled or typed at a journalist, and said a slur that people thought sounded like maggot, but with the F in front of it. Anti-gay slur. And so the Alec Baldwin in this would say scenes like, I wasn't homophobic, it was my thumbs. And he keeps saying that word over and over again anytime he pops up. He has this thing, this device that he puts his thoughts onto the internet, and it's called Shitter. Which, I mean, is pretty on the nose, but it's a fun bit about how shitty Twitter is. You put your thoughts, you put it on the internet. Twitter might as well be called Shitter. I rarely use Twitter. That got old quick. I mean, once or twice or 3 times maybe, but kept just beating into the ground. It's like, okay, I did it, guys, I did it. I mean, this is before Al Baldwin shot someone because he's an idiot and didn't want to check the guns to make sure. This is before all that. I would say what I liked more about this was the subplot with Butters, because, as I said before, Butters has become a favorite character of mine. And yeah, there's a lot of background noise around here. There's the AC on. It's like 110 degrees here in Texas. There's roosters and all sorts of life around here, so bear with me on that. But Butters hears from, like, wait, the government watches you everywhere? So he now keeps thinking of the government as God or even Santa Claus, and he doesn't know what to do. So then he goes to the DMV, and when he goes to the DMV, he confesses his sins, and he feels better. And then he becomes sort of... One of the funny bits is that Jehovah's Witnesses try to convert him, but instead he converts them into the DMV. Would you accept the government to your heart? And he starts getting people to go to the DMV, and the people at the DMV is confused. I do like the line, "This is the DMV, there will be no joy in here." Because you've been to the DMV, that's a pretty truthful statement. But the way Butters has converted everybody and is innocent, not understand what's going on in nature and how people go along with it, I just found that a little bit more interesting than the whole Cartman whistleblower thing. That didn't really do much for me. Because then he does, and then nothing happens, and he's crying about, I was a whistleblower and no one cares. Until ultimately Butters gets Cartman and converts him, and it gets him to the DMV, and then Butters is now like a televangelist confess your sins. And Cartman obliges. And sadly, the episode just kind of ends. Where the DMV's like, okay, I guess we'll go along with it. Then it cuts to a news story that the DMV was touching little kids. Oh, okay, confess your sins to the post office. Here's a news story. The post office was touching kids. Then, actually, you should confess to the news programs. Uh, we'll be back soon, and a little boy. It's just kind of a weird, lame joke to end on. I actually would like to have seen more of Butters being this televangelist, and usually it's Cartman having Butters as his sidekick or something like that. But if Cartman was Butters' sidekick, I think that would have been an interesting direction to go in. I wish more of the episode was like that instead of this whole NSA. Like the stuff at the beginning was funny. Cartman being oblivious and Kyle getting more pissed. Like I said, it just when he's getting the NSA, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you did, people find your information. I don't think it was really nothing that clever done with it. Cartman is mad that he's not some important case for the NSA that they don't know and don't give a shit about him. They even say that he's unimportant, and that ruffles Cartman's feathers. But the butter stuff was funny. The butter stuff was definitely the more interesting bit. Again, relating the government to a confessional, becoming a Jehovah's Witness, but of the government instead of religion. And also the Alec Baldwin stuff got old. I'm not a big Alec Baldwin fan. I like some of his acting as a person. He seems very scummy. So I don't mind that they're making fun of him, but it got old quick. I think after the third time they could have just stopped and moved along, but that's just me. Because the only one on this shitter is Al Baldwin Cartman, and Cartman keeps hearing Al Baldwin's thoughts, and it's about fucking someone, or being a pussy slayer, or the word that rhymes with maggot that I'm not going to say. So, that got old real quick. I would say episode 3 I enjoyed a bit more. For one reason, it references a lot of World War Z, which I'm a fan of that movie with Brad Pitt. I mean, more than likely these guys aren't a fan of it, but I really enjoy the film, so it was cool to see the movie referenced. Intermixed with Cartman is afraid of Token, the black character. He can't sleep. He'll have nightmares. No, Token, don't stab me, don't bite me. Even in class, he wakes up and Token's looking at him like, what the fuck is your problem? This is around the time of the George Zimmerman thing, where George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. And George Zimmerman said it was self-defense. But then people said, no, it wasn't. And then he got tried, but he got out. And then people say that if the kid was white that he shot, then he would have been convicted or electrocuted or death penalty. I don't know much about the case, so I'm not going to comment on it. I barely remember it back then. In fact, I didn't remember it. I had to literally look it up as to what the whole deal was. So because of this, Cartman assumes that there's going to be riots and stuff, and it's going to be as bad as World War Z. And he pictures that, all the African Americans are going to rise up and get like World War Z, attack everybody, bite everybody, and there's going to be an epidemic, and Cartman thinks Token's going to do this and that. And of course, none of it happens. The only chaos is by Cartman himself. Just his own stupidity, getting on a plane, saying stuff's going on when it's not happening. Then people stupidly in this world believes it. So then one plane crashes and another plane crashes. But like I said, I like the references to the World War Z. Like, Cartman literally dresses like Brad Pitt. with the shirt and the scarf and all that stuff. He even has the little stubble like Brad Pitt had. About how quaint his family is in the movie, which I thought worked fine in the movie. I don't know what the big issue with. Compared to a lot of movies, but whatever. But it didn't seem like they were that. Compared to other movies they've been harsh on, it seems like they were a bit lenient on this one. So, there you go. But it was just entertaining to see how Carbon just completely loses his mind and makes things so much worse and worse and worse. And there's some surprising moments there as well. That probably doesn't get mentioned later. Before that, the government gets to... Eric Cartman, he's again oblivious. The entire time he's oblivious. It's like, oh, I can't stop this. Oh, I can shoot George Zimmerman. So then the government went to George Zimmerman and said, we need you to shoot a black kid. And like it's very heavy-handed. It's very on the nose on what it's trying to preach. And that's what, at times it felt a bit preachy. I know people say it's satiric and funny, but it just, I don't know, it came off as a bit heavy-handed. And again, because I don't know the case and all that happened, I have no side to pick on with the whole thing. So Cartman is in blackface and he tries to shoot Zimmerman. Zimmerman shoots him. Wait a minute, this kid's white. What? And it immediately cuts to him being electrocuted. So again, that whole notion that if he had shot a white kid, he would have been electrocuted. But because he shot a black kid, he... I don't know. From what I understand, George Zimmerman's not a good guy, but I still doesn't mean what happened. Was it self-defense? Was it not? I don't know. Probably the most surprising bit is at the end of the episode, Cartman shoots Token, drags him into this red line that he drew, because something about some law, I forget what it was called. You could shoot someone if they're invading your space and it's self-defense and something like that. I can't remember the exact terms. Like I say, it was a bit heavy-handed on the satire, but the references to World War Z were fun to watch because I liked that movie. The shooting Tolkien was surprising, and for understand, at first they were thinking of having Tolkien die permanently, but then they changed their mind on that. I highly doubt they reference that again. Because you think Tolkien be like, hey, you shot me. But I mean, it's a cartoon. I know what you expect out of a cartoon. I guess it depends on what you think of the satire with the George Zimmerman case. If you don't know much about it, or like you one way or another, I guess that will depend on how much you enjoy the episode. But again, because I'm so unfamiliar with it, I felt like I missed some of the jokes it was pertaining to. Like I said, the World War Z stuff was probably the more interesting part to me. So yeah, the first episode, I liked the butter stuff. The second episode, I liked the World War Z stuff. The first episode, too much Alec Baldwin, and Carbon's main plot was, maybe interesting at first, but kind of got a little tiresome. And episode 3, the satiric, a lot of people I'm sure will enjoy it. Just a bit heavy-handed for me. But it's not the first or last time South Park's heavy-handed with it, so whatever. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Edward, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.